This is James Helder for iFILM London. I'm in the Hilton Hotel today in Park Lane. With me, I've got Spencer FEARON and Mr. Ed Robinson from Sky. All right, guys?
How you doing? You all right?
I'm very well. I'm very well.
I'm cool.
I want to talk to you a little bit about your Toad Stove podcast. It's absolutely getting some tremendous numbers. Everyone's talking about it. Could you give us a little insight about that?
Well, it's just Spencer chatting boxing, and he's very good.
Let's be real, yeah. I have to big up Ed Robinson. Ed Robinson doesn't like when people big him up. You know what I mean? Ed is most probably one of the most knowledgeable guys about boxing, like historically, like meaning battle. Every time we go in there, we battle. And I know he has to go to box rec, but I'm a walking box rec because, you know, Kugan Cassius has renamed me the knowledge, so you know what time of day it is. But no, fair play. The show is because it's real, and you know what I mean. You get somebody like Ed who is the most inoffensive person on the planet. Swear down. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's related to Jesus. You know, like, seriously, the Da Vinci Code has come out and they're saying, like, they're finding about the lineage of Jesus through the Knights Templars. I bet you're going to see his picture come up when you find out who they are, because Ed Robinson's one of them, because he's too nice. But, you know, me, I just speak the rules. So when I speak the rules, it's great, man. I'm so thankful for the support that we're getting. You know what I mean? And it's only going to get bigger, man. Number 5 on iTunes. What?
Ed, it must be so good for everybody, notably, to be listening to your podcast and for you guys' boxing opinions to be getting out there so far.
It's great to be paid to just talk about boxing. You know, that's the thing, really. And I'm the straight man, so I just tee him up and he goes, and we edit some of it out because he can offend people. But apart from that, he knows his stuff, and it's great, you know.
Is the editor on overload fee? Do they get paid per edit? Is it per day? What goes on?
There's a great team at Sky. They're upstairs on the 3rd floor at New Sky Studios. They work really hard. Spencer comes in on Tuesday morning. We don't even tell him what's going to be on the show. I'll just try and get a few interviews, hopefully Monday evening or Tuesday morning. And you don't have to worry about telling Spencer what's on because you can't catch him out. So it's good. He thinks on his feet. He knows his boxing. We're both a little bit sad. We both watch too much YouTube. We both watch too much boxing, but...
Yeah.
Great common ground. Great common ground to have.
No, it's not only that. I tell you the weirdest thing is, like, when I get a phone call and it's Ed Robinson, and my missus looks at me and says, "Oh shit, it's Ed Robinson," because she knows we're gonna be on the phone for like 4 hours, and like we'll just go into depth. And you know what? It's like my knowledge on the sport, I would say, is like second to none. I would say, without being cocky, is very knowledgeable. But historically, when it comes to British fighters and what they've done, Ed's the man. You know what I mean? I like to rubbish British fighters. Because I know what happened to Freddie Mills, you know what I mean, when he fought Lloyd Marshall.
What happened to Freddie Mills, for us that are not like in the loop?
In the loop, Freddie Mills went on to become like heavyweight champion of the world. You know what I mean? And he beat Levish. You pronounce his name? Who did he beat? Come on. Anyway, right, and he became like heavyweight champion of the world. But he was beaten in 1940s by a man called Lloyd Marshall. When you talk about the murderer's row, he was part of the murderer's row. Never really got a look in because at the time, you know, black fighters
started him off. You see, he has to get it in somewhere, doesn't he?
Yeah, right. That's the truth, though. That's what happened then. I wish that Bob Mee was here, because Bob Mee on Sky TV as well. Trust me, Bob Mee to me is like one of my heroes. I swear down, because he's unsung. He's one of the unsung guys. He doesn't want to get involved. You have to agree there, right? Yeah. I mean, Bob Mee's actually excellent. He's spot on the money, and he will speak about issues and stuff, and it's just great. But anyway, Freddie Mills, who became light heavyweight champion, when he became light heavyweight champion, prior to that, he got knocked out badly by a guy called Lloyd Marshall, and Lloyd Marshall is very reminiscent in boxing style today to Andre Ward. If you watch Andre Ward, they're kind of similar. So I know Andre Ward hasn't studied these guys. It's like history repeats itself. So history repeats itself. So the skills, boxing skills, repeat itself. Like someone will look on certain skills. So that's what me and Ed do. We do this every week, and that's the greatest thing. And I have to props Ed, because Ed could have gone with so many different people. And Ed said, "No, I want Spencer on the show with me," and he's brave, because I don't think a lot of people who
very brave,
right? Not a lot of people who are in that kind of podcast kind of industry or in that kind of thing when it comes to talking would say, "All right, I'm going to bring Spencer in." And Ed, who I've known since a little child, and I've got a bare love for Ed, and Ed said, "Right, come in." So I'm so thankful.
I want to talk to you guys about why we're here today. George Grove signing for Matchroom Sport. It's quite a topical thing, and you guys talk about boxing. So, if you don't mind, I'd like to put you on the spot. And what do you think about it, Ed?
Well, it's great to be working with him again. I think he's a really exciting fighter, partly because sometimes he does get hit and switch his brain off when we know he has got the skills to box if he wants to. I mean, against Glenn Johnson, he made it a lot harder than he needed to, which made it entertaining for the fans because, you know, Glenn Johnson's legs were old and he could have boxed off the back foot, but he went straight for the old guy. And
how tough is Glenn Johnson, though?
Madness, you know. Yeah, but he's even going back before then when he fought Sierra in America. He's just got a style, George, isn't he? And when he put the punches together and knocked out Sierra, it was like Nigel Benn, wasn't it? Like proper.
You know what? It's amazing that you say Nigel Benn, because I remember I phoned Adam after that fight and said he's like Nigel Benn. Like, you hit him and that's when he wants to get wicked with you. Do you know what I mean? And it's a fantastic time, because not only forget that I'm working down at Sky now and they're paying me they're paying me, Ed, right? Forget about that. You know what I mean? And I've even got a new card now, so you get a card to get into the building and get free food and stuff. It's wicked, man. I fill up my whole packets of food and everything. I take trolleys home.
I bet Larry's never ate so good.
Yeah, I'm telling you, that greedy Nigerian. But anyway, that's another story. But no, on the reals, it's so great because George Groves, he's exciting, man. And you got to give him that. And the thing about it is like George Groves is just finding himself. In the Glenn Colby Johnson fight, he was actually finding himself to say, okay, then what do I have to do? How do I get to nullify certain things? That was a very good learning fight for him. And I'm glad that he done his learning fight elsewhere, because now that he's doing his thing on Sky now, like the general public, he's a guy, I reckon, like, he's a kind of crossover guy, because he's a very humble guy as well. Nice, but he's very funny. He's very witty. And he's got a dry wit as well, and that's the thing that's cool. It's like certain people are in your face wit. He's got a dry. Yeah, but is he related to you? Is he not related?
Also with Adam Booth is quite keen to test his fighters. He did it with David Haye from day one, so there's not that concern about him not boxing anyone decent. They were willing to put him in with Stieglitz for the world title. Maybe that was a little bit early, but if you do a deal with George Groves, he's going to be willing to take tests. They test him in the gym, they test him in the ring.
Yeah. And that's the thing, and also like with George Groves is he's very tenacious, You know what I mean? But he showed a good boxing brain when he fought James DeGale. So when you got somebody like that, you could only not expect him to become a world champion, because of like he's very good at figuring out puzzles. Like, oh, this isn't working, and I've got to adapt and change, and that's what he's good at. So when you look at George Groves, because of his adaptability, then you could only envision him becoming a world champion. He could become a world champion in a boring fight or an exciting fight, but he could become a world champion. And I think because of Adam Booth's track record of testing guys, like Ed was saying, because David Haye was getting tested early. I'm saying, right, you're pointing him with him, and like David Haye got some vicious nullifying power,
knocking out cruiserweights all over the place.
Yeah, David Haye was knocking out everybody. So to see what George Groves is going to do now is going to be very interesting. That's the excellent thing, man, and it's a great thing because it's on Sky and they pay me now.
Can I just say about George Groves as well? You get a lot of fighters who are quite defensive-minded, and the reason they're defensive-minded is they don't like to get hit. No one really likes to get hit, but they're kind of a bit concerned about their vulnerabilities or whatever. So when you get someone like George Groves, who it's kind of his instinct to have a fight, and he's got that in him, but you can teach him how to box and be tactical and control him. You've got the complete package there, and that's one of the things I really like with George Groves. He showed against James DeGale that he could be tactical and he could use his brain and box off the back foot and counter and show some tricks. But you also know he's got that warrior spirit when he needs it.
Last question: how highly do you guys rate George Groves? Obviously, Ed, you've just answered that, but Spencer, how highly do you rate George Groves?
Well, you have to look at the guy's record, all right? You got to look at his record, and he's still relatively a new pro when you think about it.
16 fights. He's a novice, really, in pro terms.
But even at looking at that, I remember seeing George Groves on his first or second fight down at York Hall, and I said, this guy is going to do things. Because even then he was kind of match highly.
Paul Samuels, I think, in his second pro fight, which is a good test for anyone, Yeah,
I mean, to be put in with Paul Samuels, who's a noted puncher, and even though he's a bit long in the tooth, the last thing you lose is your punch power. And they put him with Paul Samuels, and he stopped Paul Samuels. They put him with a French kid. His first pro fight was a French kid, right? Who was unbeaten guy. I think he was 3-0. So you got to look at that and say, Adam Booth don't muck around, does he? Adam Booth does not muck around. He puts, and for that reason alone, Adam Booth's loyal to the game, because he's saying, right, I've got a talent and I believe that you can do something. And he's very good at instilling belief in guys. So he's saying, right, I believe that you can do something. Let's put you in, let's test you. So not many people get that. So they get delusions of grandeur. There is no delusion of grandeur with James DeGale's calling my name now, right? Is he ringing me? No, there's no delusions of grandeur with George Groves, because he's real, and that was the difference in the James DeGale fight, because there's no one guy was saying, right, you know what, I got a tactical plan, and the next guy was saying, well, I'm just going to deal with you. It may be different now, because I think both will come on, and that'd be great down the line, but trust me, George Groves going to be a world champion.
on that note, guys, I want to thank you for talking to iFILM London. Good luck with your podcast. I'll be watching it, and do feel free to give us a big up. www.ifilmlondon.com.
No, we're not going to big up iPhone London. We big up iPhone London too much, but you know what I mean? And right now, we're at Sky, man. This man here brought me in. I want people to know that. Brought me in. When people thought I was done, they thought I was finished, they thought I was shot, I thought I was washed up. Nah, seriously, everyone, just tune in. But love the support. We're number 5 on iTunes right now. Can you imagine that? Number 5. It's great. And it's only going to get better, man.
Number 5. You heard it first. This is James Hold with Spencer FEARON and Ed Robinson for iFILM London. Thank you very much. Spud, all right, Spud?